One little small glimmer of potentially good news that your hosts, Teresa and Erin, will tear apart and help you realize it's actually terrible news. While we were on break in July, our good friends at Gallup released some new data. Headline is U.S. public trust in higher education rises from recent low. Top lines, obviously there's a lot of data here to dig into. But Americans' confidence in higher education has increased, with 42% saying they have a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in it, up from 36% in each of the last 2 years. At the same time, the share of those with little or no confidence has declined from 32% to a year ago to 23% today. This represents the first time Gallup has measured an increase in confidence in its decade-long trend. Confidence in higher education remains well below where it was in the initial Gallup measure in 2015, when a majority of 57% were confident. Go ahead, Teresa, make them cry.
Well, so I read the data and I was like, well, I mean, at least they don't hate us as much. And then I went to LinkedIn and I was surprised by people, some of whom are data wonks, who were saying the drought is over and we're all saved and everything is peachy. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm the Pollyanna, and I am the one who is going to point out that you need more than one data point before you have a trend, everybody. What the actual are we talking about here? This is a sign, but also I think at some point, people are kind of feeling sorry for us, and they feel like we've had the snot kicked out of us for so long that at the very least, the data shows that there's a mercy rule here. And that's how I really took it, is that at the very, very least, let's see what next year's data says. And let's dig into this a little bit deeper, because I kind of feel like, I live in Colorado, we're like the Colorado Rockies right now. And everybody is just calling the mercy rule and wants us just to get some rest. And then they're going to tell us what they really think about us. But I didn't see this necessarily at this point as our comeback. Right? Don't call it a comeback. Thank you, LL Cool J. I think instead, let's get more data. Let's get more information. What does the Harris poll say? What do other polls say? Let's dig into this and ask some further questions. But before we all get a little too comfortable thinking that everybody loves us, let's make sure we understand why they didn't have trust. And let's make sure that we're fixing that before we think that we're back to being beloved.
Yeah, we didn't fix it.
We didn't fix it.
Friends.
We didn't fix it.
I do think, if I could flash forward 5 to 10 years from now, I will be very interested to look back and see exactly to your point. I think people have been kicking us for a long time as an industry, in many ways, rightly, in some ways, gratuitously. And there is, we all went through this experience earlier this summer where all of a sudden Harvard was the hero and everybody was sort of stunned to be rooting for Harvard. But it's easy to kick organization, an entity, a person when they're down. And then when they're suddenly in actual real peril to say, oh, well, you're not that bad.
Right.
So I agree with you. Ron Ross, who taught me stats in college, I got an A only because I took it over Jan term, would say to you, this is a moment in time. This is a snapshot of one moment of time in how 1,400 U.S. adults felt in June. And who knows, once, the Columbia settlement is hit, it sounds like the Harvard settlement is imminent, even though the court actions are still ongoing. There are a lot of other settlements that sound like they're imminent, and I don't know if that's accurate or not. We'll see what happens with this number. We'll see if, some institution bungles their negotiation with the administration and things take a turn. There's no way to know where we are for sure until we have a couple years worth of data from any poll.
Exactly. Collective information gives us a better sense of where we stand.
Yes. But also, let's not just lean on the polling. We need to be talking to lawmakers. We need to be talking to business. We need to be talking to students and families, because that's where you're going to get the real information that's directly relevant to your campus.
And where we were talking in May, which would have influenced a June poll, in May, our final episode, we were discussing how institutions were shifting the ways in which they talked about what they do. They were really talking about impact reporting. What is the impact they have on the daily lives of individuals? They were no longer just talking about activity and what they wanted to push at people. And that means that we might be seeing how some of that was starting to resonate. Maybe. But
Maybe.
really, impact reporting takes a long time to really resonate with people. We were starting to see the shift in approach. And if we really think that there's going to be resonation, it's going to take longer than a month.
Yes. Yes. And we have no idea what the fall semester holds for us. And the spring semester. And so those kinds of headlines, things that come out of what happens on our campuses this fall and spring will also continue to inform public perception. And we need to be smart about how we're handling what could be another challenging academic year.